Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Thursday. I hope you all are doing well. We are going to sit down and talk about the obvious subject this evening, and that is Farhad Moshiri, the recent letter written by Farhad Moshiri, or certainly signed by Farhad Moshiri. Whether or not it was actually written by Everton's owner is up for question. We're also going to talk about Farhad's little conversation with his best friend Jim White and Simon Jordan over on TalkSport this morning. Let me just remind you that Farhad Moshiri said not even a year ago that he and Everton themselves will be looking to establish stronger connections with Evertonians over the course of the coming months, and therefore I will not be talking to you on TalkSport anymore. Jim, fast forward less than a year, things once again aren't going well at Everton Football Club, and once again, rather than sitting down and utilising the club's media team, the media team that Farhad Moshiri pays for, the media team that Farhad Moshiri employs, he would rather run away to his friends in the mainstream media again and make what I can only describe as a sickening, embarrassing, and just damn right dreadful phone call to TalkSport today, effectively saying that Evertonians should be grateful for him and what he's done with the football club, and everything's okay and he's not going to make any changes, which as I've just said is scary really, because this man is the owner of our football club. This man is the man who is responsible for making the decisions. This man is the man who is responsible for keeping those members of the board that we all know are completely incompetent, we all know are incapable of doing their jobs, we all know are stale, we all know are underqualified, we all know are nowhere near the level as to what they need to be to run this football club successfully. He is the man in charge of all of them, and he is the man responsible for keeping them in their jobs. And I've said this before, and I will say it again, and we are going to have a look at Farhad Moshiri's letter to the Everton Fans Forum, which was published last night, and we are also going to talk about his interview with Jim White on TalkSport and talk about some of the quotes that were specifically mentioned in that interview, because they are terrifying. They really, really are terrifying. If you're an Evertonian and you've, as I said, you listened to that interview this morning, or you've read the quotes from it, or however you may have digested that content, I don't think any of us have read it and felt anything other than terrifying worry, to be honest, because, you know, it is very, 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 very clear that Farhad Moshiri has not got a clue what is going on at the football club at the moment, has not got a clue how to make positive change at the football club, has not got a clue how to run this football club. And this is why I say what I'm about to say, and I've said this for a while and I will continue to say it: Farhad Moshiri needs running out of this football club as well as everybody else. Now, I understand that people have got, not vendettas, that's the wrong way. People have got issues with Bill Kenwright, and I understand people have got issues with Denise Barrett-Baxendale, and as you all know, I am fully behind the NSNOW campaign, NS Now campaign. I've signed the letter. I'm on the letter. Our logo's on the letter. I'm fully behind it. I think this board are completely incompetent, and I think every single one of them needs removing from this football club, from Bill Kenwright to Denise Barrett-Baxendale to Graham Sharp to Grant Ingles to whoever else is on that board. They need removing as soon as possible, because they have proven over the course of the last 4, 5, 6 years that they simply are incapable of doing whatever job that they're put there to do, and that's fine. And when I see the NS Now letters and the statements that I put out, and as I said, I absolutely 100% agree with them. I'm behind them. I back them. But when I read these letters and I see that they're written, they're addressed to Farhad Moshiri, it does anger me a little bit. Now, again, I'm not having a go at NS Now or saying that it should be done in any other way, because I understand that Farhad Moshiri is the owner of the football club, and it's very, very, very difficult for anybody to try and run an owner out of a football club, because the reality is it's his football club, it's his money that he's got in the football club, and the only way he is leaving this football club is if he receives what he would describe as a good enough offer for him to then sell. So it's nowhere near as easy to remove an owner from a football club as it is to make a statement about the board who can easily be removed. So I get it, I appreciate it, and as I said, I'm not in any way, shape or form, having a go or trying to suggest that things are done in another way. But what I am saying is, the biggest problem at Everton Football Club for me is Farhad Moshiri. And I said this yesterday when the letter was put out there, and a few people were disagreeing with me and saying, no, it's Bill Kenwright, it's Denise Barabak-Nail, it's this, that's the other. And I had a couple of people say to me, well, how was it Farhad Moshiri when he's invested £500 million into this football club? I can debunk that straight away. He's wasted £500 million, mostly on players that are nowhere near good enough, haven't got the right attitude, and should never have been employed by Everton in the first place, along with managers who follow the same sort of path, either nowhere near good enough, haven't got the right attitude, or, as we know, in very recent cases, should never have been employed by Everton Football Club in the first place. Somebody else has said to me, if it wasn't for Farhad Moshiri's investment, we'd be where Sunderland are, which is laughable, really, because Farhad Moshiri has spent £500 since becoming the majority shareholder or owner or whatever title you want to give him at Everton Football Club, and out of that £500 million he has spent, I can name one player that I would say has been a success and value for money, and we would probably make money on him, and that's Jordan Pickford. So take away the £30 million that Everton spent on Jordan Pickford, that's £470 million odd, probably even more, that Farhad Moshiri has spent on Michael Keane, on Gylfi Sigurdsson, on Cenk Tosun, on Theo Walcott, on Sandro Ramirez, on Yannick Bolasie, on Morgan Schneiderlin. Dare I continue? On players that have failed, have been a complete waste of money, have been a complete waste of wages, have had the wrong attitudes. The majority of them have ended up leaving Everton Football Club for significantly less than what we bought them in for. And then they had the usual sort of responses to, oh no, Bill Kenwright is the biggest issue with this football club. And don't get me wrong, Bill Kenwright is a massive, massive issue with this football club. And I will not sit here and defend Bill Kenwright for 1 second. He's stale. He is a dinosaur, as Ped quite rightly said, and he shouldn't be anywhere near Everton Football Club, especially not in the modern day 2023. Bill Kenwright hasn't got a fucking clue how to run a football club successfully in this day and age. But who keeps Bill Kenwright in a job? Farhad Moshiri keeps Bill Kenwright in a job. So as much as we can sit here and have a go at the board, and I fully agree the board are not capable of doing their jobs, the board are not capable of running this football club, as I've just mentioned, Bill Kenwright is completely stale. He's nowhere near what he should be, what he needs to be in order to run this football club successfully. Denise Barrett-Baxendale is underqualified and has shown over the last 6 years that she hasn't got a clue how to run a football club successfully. Who keeps these people in the job? Who comes on national radio and says, I don't know what you're talking about, these people know what they're doing because they live locally, they go the match and they've been here for a while? The owner. The owner does that. The owner has got the power to make the decisions. The owner has got the money to be able to make them decisions, or has had the money to make them decisions over the years, and yet the owner has showed a complete lack of any sort of knowledge or understanding of how to run a football club successfully, and is now showing a complete lack of any sort of awareness of what is currently going on at the football club. So for me, whilst Bill Kenwright is a humongous issue with this football club, whilst Denise Barrett-Baxendale is a humongous issue with this football club, whilst Frank Lampard is an issue with this football club, whilst the players are an issue with this football club, whilst Graham Sharp is an issue with this football club, the biggest issue at this football club is Farhad Moshiri. It is as simple as that, and I completely am behind the NS Now campaign, and I'm completely behind, doing all that we can as a fan base, whether it be sit-ins, whether it be protests before the game, whether it be other forms of protest, whether it be banners, whether it be anything else. I'm completely behind all of that to try and remove those 4 or 5 people that sit on that board, scratching their asses with not a clue how to run this football club successfully. But please, 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 can we continue to turn our attention to this fella as well? Because his time at Everton Football Club is done. It is completely done. And I know it's much more difficult. And I know when you spoke to Simon Jordan, he'd say, well, he's the owner of the club, he owns it, so he's not just going to walk away with no money whatsoever, is he? The reality is, he's the issue with this football club. Bill Kenwright is a puppet that is strung along. And listen, I understand there is a lot of There's a lot of people who have personal issues with Bill Kenwright, and I get that for whatever reason, whether it be what he said in the past, because Bill Kenwright, very much like Farhad Moshiri, when a camera is put in front of him or a microphone, it usually sprouts the most ridiculous nonsense you've ever heard in your life. So I understand why people have got a dislike for Bill Kenwright. I understand why people have got a dislike for Denise or a dislike for the manager or whatever. I don't have any personal hatred towards any of them. I just have a personal hatred towards Everton as a collective, but I don't have any personal hatred towards any of them. But the reality is that board is in place because the owner is allowing them to be in place. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. He doesn't care about Everton Football Club. He doesn't attend the games. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm not saying that this is the case before anybody says, oh, don't be a conspiracist, but it wouldn't surprise me if Farhad Moshiri had phoned somebody at Everton up, whether it be Denise or whether it be Bill or whether it be somebody else, and said, listen, I haven't got a fucking clue what's been going on over the last couple of months because I've been sat here playing poker on my yacht, and somebody at Everton's gone, yeah, it's alright, we've had a couple of ropey results, but everything's alright, we'll be alright this season, and Frank's doing well, and this, that, and the other. And Farhad's gone, right, okay, I'm going to go and write a statement based off of that. Because that is exactly what you would think had happened based on the letter that we saw yesterday that was published to the Everton Fans Forum and the interview that we saw today on TalkSport. It cannot have come from a man who has witnessed what we've witnessed over the last year as Evertonians. It simply cannot come from a man. And if it does come from a man who's witnessed that, then he's completely out of touch, he's completely deluded, and he's completely out of his depth at running a football club. So yes, Bill Kenwright's time is done. Denise Barrett-Baxendale's time is done at this football club. But Farhad Moshiri's time is done at this football club now. And I understand it's not as easy as saying, sack the owner, because you can't sack the owner. He owns the football club. Yes, we can say sack the chairman. Yes, we can say sack the CEO. Yes, we can say sack the manager. We can't say sack the owner because ultimately he runs the football club. But the reality is that Farhad Moshiri's time now at Everton is done. His legacy will be a stadium, and we might sit here in 5-10 years' time saying, oh, look at how brilliant this stadium is. But can I just remind you, Denise Barrett-Baxendale said less than, 2 years ago, we need a Champions League team for a Champions League stadium. At this rate, we're going to have a championship team for the Championship League stadium. Yes, the stadium is brilliant. Yes, it will look brilliant. And yes, we may look at Farhad Moshiri in 10 years and think, he gave us the stadium. The reality is the demise of the football club during his time as majority shareholder has been nothing short of sickening, frustrating, annoying, and heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. It really, really, really is heartbreaking. And I don't know what's more heartbreaking, witnessing it happening or witnessing it happening and the people that are responsible for it and the people that are actually able to change that trajectory of just complete and utter demise and actually change it, to an upward spiral and to a bit of positivity, just looking at it and thinking there's nothing wrong. I don't know what you're talking about. It is very much like we are stuck in a house fire and we're trying to put it out with petrol. I just don't understand how the owner can look at what is happening at the football club at the moment and think, yeah, you know what, everything is going well, we're okay. I mean, we're going to talk about the individual quotes and things that he said within the interview, and we're going to talk about the letter in just a second, but I just wanted to get that out there because there's a lot at the moment about the board, there's a lot at the moment about Kenwright and Barrett-Baxendale and stuff, and I agree with all of it. But I also think there needs to be more about Moshiri because for me his time at Everton Football Club is done now. And it's getting to the point where I'm driving past this stadium and I don't have any positive feeling towards it. I drive past it on the way to work every single day. Every single day without fail, I drive down Boundary Street and I see it in front of me. I've seen it over the last 12 months come out of the ground from where you couldn't see any of it because it was just foundations to now you can see stands, you can see, you can picture what it's going to look like. I should be driving on my way to work looking at that going, look at how amazing that is, that's going to be brilliant, we're going to be bossing that. Where am I? I'm going to be sitting somewhere there watching Everton win games of footy. I'm driving past it now thinking, I wonder who we'll be playing when we're in that, Bristol or Blackburn or Preston or Charlton or somebody like that. Listen, I don't speak on behalf of anybody except myself. I'm an Evertonian. You know, there's 90-odd people in here watching. We're all Evertonians, and there's hundreds of thousands of Blues across the world. I only speak for myself. If you'd have said to me 3 years ago when them plans for the stadium were put in front of me, right, Cam, you've got 2 buttons in front of your ear. One of them completely scraps the stadium. It gets, you can't get the funding for it. It gets scrapped. You don't ever see it. But Everton remain competitive. Everton continue to invest. The club, Kenwright goes and Barrett Baxendale goes, and the club is run properly, and you are of a competitive nature in the Premier League. Or this button here, stadium gets built, it's all brand spanking new, it's brilliant, but you go through 2 relegation battles, you survive in one of them, and I'm not going to tell you whether you survive in the other one. I'd scrap the stadium, to be honest with you. And I'm not saying scrap the stadium, by the way. I'm just saying, if the sacrifice we were going to have to give was the complete demise of this football club, in order for the one good thing for them to do is go, well, look, I've got a brand new stadium. Does it matter? Does it matter? Because I honestly don't think Everton will be one of these teams that gets relegated and then comes back up with, in a burning flame manner, winning every week in the Championship. I just don't see it happening, to be honest. So, for me, yes, the board have got to go. Yes, the board have done at this football club now, and yes, we as fans should continue to protest, should continue to make our voices heard and our feelings known, whether we win games or lose games. And that doesn't mean we can't get behind the team. That doesn't mean we can't get behind the manager. That doesn't mean we can't get behind, the players on a match day. Of course we can. Of course we can do all of that. The reality is that we also, for me, need to make it really clear that we're not happy with the owner, because for me, he's the biggest issue with this football club. He really, really is. And Jungle, I'm not saying cancel the stadium. I'm not saying we don't want the stadium for nothing. What I'm saying is my feeling towards the football club at the moment is just a complete dejected, sad, upset feeling. So I can't drive past that stadium and go, wow, this is going to be amazing. I drive past it and think, fucking hell, what are we going to be playing on a Saturday afternoon when we're in there? It's worrying. It's worrying, and as I said it yesterday when the letter come out, he's the biggest issue with the club, and a lot of people said, no, it's not, it's this person, it's that person, it's the other person. And then you listen to him on TalkSport today, and things like, well, the fans actually had a decision making in the managers that have been picked. Well, did we? Because I can guarantee you that there's not one Evertonian on this planet that wanted Rafael Benitez as the Everton manager. He then went on to say, and the fans also decide when a manager loses the job, not me. Well, why? Why? It's a multi-million-pound Premier League football club. Us as Evertonians have a massive say because it's our football club and we're massively important. But run the club for us. Run the club in the best interest of us. He effectively has come out there and gone, I haven't got a clue what I'm doing, and neither does anybody on the board, which is why we've listened to the fans. It's a disgrace. I disagree with you, Jungle. Jungle says, yeah, we're all distraught, but this man's poured his whole wealth into the club and the city. We can't hate him. I completely disagree. I completely disagree with it. Anyway, let's get on to the letter. So, for those of you that don't know, Everton's Fans Forum wrote a letter to Farhad Moshiri. I believe it was yesterday, the day before yesterday, effectively asking for some, some clarity, some communication, just something from the owner, because he's been quiet for, almost a year now in regards to the club and what's going on at the football club. Everton Fans Forum letter wrote, to Farhad Moshiri, we write in this open letter to ask you to listen to Evertonians and the concerns currently being expressed. The Everton Fans Forum is a group of volunteers who give up their time to act as a conduit between Evertonians and Everton Football Club, representing a wide range of issues, views and perspectives. Some of these issues include concerns about the direction of the club and also the gap in communications. The last number of days has seen some of these concerns escalate across many parts of the global Everton fan base. Everton is a community and a way of life to Evertonians. It means everything to us. We therefore ask that you acknowledge the concerns that are being raised and that you take the earliest opportunity to speak with Evertonians directly. The Everton Fans Forum. That letter was then received by Farhad Moshiri or somebody close to Farhad Moshiri. And a response was received which read, "Dear Everton Fans Forum, thank you for your letter and also more importantly for everything you do for the club. As the majority shareholder and proud custodian of Everton, I have the utmost respect for the support of Evertonians. I am also fully aware and understand the concerns that fans may have." He then goes on to say, "I hope through my 2 open letters to the fans in the last 12 months, I have provided clarity on my position, commitment and direction of the club. I trust that you also agree that the club's operatives are well structured. I trust that you also agree that the club operates a well-structured and ongoing dialogue with not only the forum, but also the Fan Advisory Board, the Supporters Club Committees, and the many other fan groups that form the most robust fan communication network of any club in the Premier League. In almost 7 years since my arrival at the club, I have significantly increased my investment and our new stadium has become a reality. We regularly review our performance and initiate change when we feel that the club falls short of standard. This has meant that we have seen a turnover in managers, directors of football and several board members, but always as we have striven to achieve success, whilst in virtually every instance change has been supported and encouraged by fans, stability must be the key to progression. I have faith in the work being done, not only by our manager, but our director of football and our board of directors. That faith is based on my knowledge of the depth and quality work being done both at Finch Farm and the Royal Liver Building, and of the plan that is in place. I am confident that we have skilled, experienced, focused professionals at all levels of the club. We are all agreed that our current league position must and will improve. I welcome plans for the Fan Advisory Board to host a series of sessions with fans to gather feedback, thoughts and concerns, of which the forum is a part. I can confirm representatives from the club's board will engage with the Fans Advisory Board, and meet with its designated representatives to discuss the collated fan feedback as soon as possible following the completion of those scheduled sessions. The focus of myself, the club and the fans is aligned, a better Everton, and I am confident that we can move forward in a constructive, positive manner. Farhad Moshiri. I mean, as I'm sure you could all tell, I couldn't get through that statement. I couldn't get through that letter, whether it be this time reading it online or whether it be the first time I read it. I couldn't get through that without just being completely just gobsmacked, really, at what I was reading. But not gobsmacked because I was shocked at it. Because it was the type of letter that you expect from Farhad Moshiri, a complete and utter, just ill-advised, load of nonsense, which clearly shows that he hasn't got a clue what's going on at the football club at the moment. He hasn't got a clue how bad these people at the top of the football club actually are at their jobs, and he is completely out of depth and unaware of how serious this situation is. Skilled professionals at the top of the football club. We've got apparently, well, why are we losing hundreds of millions of pounds every single year? Why has our league position deteriorated over the course of the last 4 or 5 years to the point where we're now in 2 relegation battles? Why did we bring in a manager that you full well knew was absolutely never, ever, ever going to work with this fan base? Why are we having the chairman come out and tell us that we've had good times over the last 28 years when we haven't won a single trophy and we've gotten into the top 4 once and once only in the course of that time? Skilled professionals who know what they're doing at the top of this football club. Why have we got a CEO that isn't qualified to be a Premier League CEO? Why? Faith in the work being done. Farhad Moshiri said himself, I've invested a lot of money into this football club. In fact, I'll quote him, he said, I've put my money where my mouth is. Okay, so you've put your money where your mouth is and you've got faith in the people at the football club to do the right job. So why is every single penny virtually of the money you've put into this football club being wasted? As I said, with the exception of one player, Jordan Pickford, pretty much every other player we've signed during Farhad Moshiri's reign has been a complete disaster. Faith in the people at the top of the football club. the managers that have been brought into this football club have been a complete and utter disaster. I just, pardon me, I just don't get it. I really, really, really don't get it. I don't get how somebody can be so out of touch with what's going on. Somebody can be so just completely unaware and just, completely, just, as I said, unaware and not asked about the fans' feelings and concerns and worries about what is going on at this football club at the moment. And he can come out all he likes and say, oh, we share the same concerns and we want to be better and we want to be this. We all read that letter last night and it was a kick in the balls for all of us, because it was effectively the owner coming out and saying, I'm not going to change it. I've got faith in the chairman. I've got faith in the CEO. Even to the manager level, we still aren't really talking about the manager and the fact that, let's be honest, the manager isn't good enough to do the job. And if he loses on Saturday in what is a relegation 6-pointer against Southampton at Goodison, then he will probably lose his job as well. We're not even touching on that aspect of it. The letter effectively read, I'm not really bothered about the fact that you want to protest against the chairman or the board or the manager or whoever, because I think everything's all right. And if I think everything's all right, then that's sound. And he's got a paragraph there about, we'll, have meetings with the fans advisory board and we'll listen with this and that and the other. The fans forum have written a letter to state that the fans have got genuine concerns about the running of this football club. The fans advisory board will have advised that the fans have got genuine concerns about the running of this football club. And in one letter, Farhad Moshiri has effectively said, yeah, I'm dead happy with everything that's going on and that's us, what's going on in the football club. But we'll sit and we'll listen to your feedback. But you won't though, will you? Because our feedback is that these people are not good enough. Our feedback is that these people are not capable or not qualified to do the job that they need to do. The evidence is smacking you in the face. We lose hundreds of millions of pounds a year. Our league position has deteriorated year in, year out. We're in our second relegation battle consecutively. The evidence is there. These people do not understand what they're doing. They haven't got a clue. How can you come out and say, I've got faith in that they know what they're doing? They're skilled professionals. They've been here for a long time. It doesn't matter. They don't know what they're doing, and Everton will be relegated under this current regime. The fella is an absolute... I want this to be as constructive as possible. I don't want to come in and start swearing and screaming and shouting and throwing out insults, because that's not what I want this to be. As I said, I want this to be a constructive response to the owner. But as I've titled this live stream, and as I said at the start of this live stream, and as I will continue to say, I'm all behind the process of getting Ken Wright out the football club. I'm all behind the process of getting Denise Barrett-Baxendale out the football club. But please, 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 can we start to actually open our eyes to this complete and utter footballing criminal? Because he needs to be ran out of the football club as well. Because coming out and writing such an ill-informed letter about our concerns and saying, effectively, I'm not really bothered, because I've got faith in those that are in place. How? And what I don't understand is, it's his investment. It's his money. You can't come out 1 minute on TalkSport and say, I've put my money where my mouth is. It's my investment. I've invested 500 million. Yeah, you have. So how are you not worried? How are you not concerned? How are you able to invest £500 million into a business, and in the time of your investment, in that 4, 5, 6 years of your investment, that business deteriorate and fail gradually over each year? Because when Farhad come in, we were a team that had aspirations of fighting for Europe. We had a season where we got into Europe under Farhad Moshiri. How can you watch the football club that you're investing into, slowly, season by season, get worse, and then say, well, I've got belief in the people that are in charge? Are you just genuinely not bothered about the money? Are you just genuinely not interested? Are you just genuinely Or are you that much of an idiot that you cannot see, hang on, my business is failing, regardless of whether you want a better Everton, which is absolute bollocks, by the way, such a corny, saying. Again, when I read it, I felt sick. Such an absolute. Don't try and come at us with these corny nonsense sayings that try and pat us on the head. We all want a better Everton. I know what's a better Everton. You and all your little cronies bouncing and selling to somebody who knows what they're doing or is going to bring people in that know what they're doing. But how can you sit there and say, we all want what's best for Everton, we all want a better Everton, and not look and go, my business is failing here. I'm investing £400-500 million into a business which is failing. It's failing. How can he not see that it's failing? I don't understand it. Anyway, that was the letter yesterday. As I said, a completely ill-informed, effectively a pat on the head to us all. You stay in your lane. I'm happy with what's going on. Don't worry about it. And like I said, I was completely sickened by that letter yesterday, and was ready to come on and do this live stream regardless of whether or not Farhad Moshiri decided to go and speak to his mates. But then he did, didn't he? Earlier this morning, apparently, according to Alan Myers, completely to the complete surprise to anybody at the football club, and by anybody at the football club, I assume Alan Myers means the rest of the board. That board that communicate together. Well, they didn't know Farhad Moshiri was going on TalkSport. I'm sure Frank Lampard, any of the players, I'm sure Kevin Thelwell didn't know Farhad Moshiri was going on TalkSport. And Farhad Moshiri had even said, less than a year ago, as I said at the start of this live stream, Farhad Moshiri said to Jim White on TalkSport, listen, Jim, or I think he'd text him and Jim White read it out on the show. Listen, Jim, we want to establish a better communication with our fans, so for the time being, I'm not going to be coming on this show, and I'm only going to be communicating with fans through the Everton official sites and official forums. That media team that Farhad Moshiri pays for, that media team that Farhad Moshiri employs, that he could comfortably sit down in front of a camera with a microphone like this and do a similar interview to the one that he done with his best mate Jim. Farhad Moshiri said a year ago, I won't be doing that anymore. Fast forward a year, and he's back on the phone with him. He's back on the phone with him, sprouting nonsense. Let's have a little look at some of the things that he said, and we'll go through them. So, he was asked by Jim White whether or not he believes that the Evertonians have still got faith in him. And he says, well, I hope so. I have put my money where my mouth is, and that is the most an owner can do. Bollocks for a start, but we'll go over that in a minute. He spoke about Everton's board. This is laughable, by the way. He said, they've been there for a long time, they're dedicated, they're local, and it's so important to keeping the club's roots in Liverpool. They love the club, they've been attending games under every condition, and they are working extremely hard. Now, let me translate that to what Farhad Moshiri actually means. I have not got a fucking clue how to run a football club or how to employ people that understand how to run a football club. So it's more important for me that the people that are on the board, not actually that they know how to run a football club, but just that they're local, they can go the game, and they like the club. How embarrassing is that? How embarrassing is it that when the owner is being asked to, provide a response to Evertonians' concerns about the board, tell us why this board is good enough. You've just said in your letter they're experienced and they're well skilled. Tell us why. Give us the evidence why. They've been there a long time. All right. They're dedicated, aren't we all? They're local, aren't we all? That's important to keeping the club's roots in Liverpool. Well, is it? It's not like if we go and get a really well-informed, well-educated football man in from the other side of the world that the club's all of a sudden going to pick up and move away, is it? No, it'll always be in Liverpool, regardless of who's on the board. They love the club, right? Okay, don't we all? They attend under every condition, right? Okay, don't we all? So as far as I'm concerned, been here a long time, dedicated, local, love the club, and attend the games. Sound. Where's my invite? Patrick Joyce in the comments, TJ, Jungle, Matty Boost, J Dunn, Paul, Jack, Blue Cali, Gavin, the Blues, Patrick, Peter. We can all go on the board, can't we? Because all as it happens to be is that you're local, you go the game under any condition, you've been here a long time, and you love the club. Sound. How embarrassing is that? How fucking embarrassing is that? That when asked to, provide us as fans, even if it is on TalkSport, which we spoke about, it's a nonsense. He shouldn't be going on TalkSport. It's embarrassing. But even if it is on TalkSport, you've been asked, right, give the Evertonians a reason as to why they should put faith in the board. And you've effectively just said, well, they're local, they love the club, and they go the game. So the 39,000 other people at Goodison Park. And do you know what the irony is? 39,000 other people at Goodison Park will probably be A, more experienced and more qualified to do the job that certain people on that board are doing, and B, better at doing the job as well. It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. I've put my money where my mouth is, and that's the most an owner can do. But it's not, is it? Because the most an owner can do is spend that money wisely. The most an owner can do is put your money where your mouth is by employing the right people to do the right job. And he hasn't done that. He then went on to say, some of the decisions that have been taken have been driven by fans. You have to stay with the manager or get the systems going. He said, all the managers who have left have been driven by the fans, not me initially. So, in that one interview with TalkSport, and by the way, the interview's a couple of minutes long, he says a few more things, and the irony is, and I actually think the most embarrassing thing is whilst he's doing this interview, if you go and listen to it, he's actually got another One Bites the Dust on in the background by Queen, and I listened to it before, and I just felt like I was watching a Channel 4 sitcom, to be honest with you. I felt like I was watching Not Going Out or something. I'm sitting here listening to the owner of our football club telling us that the board are good enough because they're local and they love the club, telling us that it's the fans' fault that when managers get sacked, because the fans decide when managers get sacked, or when managers are appointed, whilst he's got another One Bite to the Dust on in the background. What is this? What is going on? What do we all live in a sketch show written by Ricky Gervais? And we're all... Is this like one big Truman Show where we're all just victims of this sketch show that has been written by a comedy actor, and we all just think it's our reality when really everybody's just a paid actor, and I'm just sitting here knocking on, pretend walls, and I'm really, in a television show? What's going on? What is going on? It's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. The Blues says wasn't an Eye of the Tiger. He had Eye of the Tiger on as well. Eye of the Tiger was on before another One Bites the Dust. Could you have picked two? He could have put any other song on. It's embarrassing. It's royally embarrassing that an owner can come out and when asked to give evidence, or when asked effectively to say, right, speak to the fans. Why should they believe in this board? Why do you think the board are doing a good job? They're local. They love the football club. They attend the games and they work hard. I'm local. I love the football club. I attend the games and I work hard. So am I as qualified as Denise Barrett-Baxendale? Probably more qualified than Denise Barrett-Baxendale, if I'm being honest. Am I as qualified as Bill Kenwright? Because as far as I'm concerned, the reasons why these people are still on the Everton board are the reasons that have just been given by the owner, and the reasons that have just been given by the owner are things that are showed on by hundreds of thousands of Evertonians every week. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Some of the decisions were taken together with the fans. All the managers who have left have been driven by the fans, not me. Why? Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why some of the decisions have been driven by fans. I'll tell you why. Firstly, because there's not been a contingency plan at the football club ever. Certainly not, in the time that Farhad Moshiri's been here. Never have been a contingency plan, whether it be for a player, Lukaku, Richarlison, John Stones, who's going to come in and replace them. Never been a contingency plan. There's never been a contingency plan for the manager. What happens if Carlo Ancelotti leaves the football club? Who are we going to get? No, there's not a contingency plan for Frank Lampard now. Otherwise, he'd have been sacked. And you would have thought in the summer they would have put a contingency plan in place because of how close we were to the drop last season. So that's why fans come together last January and said, hang on, we're going to make a stance here. Because the club didn't have a plan. The club didn't have a clue what was going on. But you have effectively just admitted that your multi-million-pound business that you've put in £500 million into over the years, the decisions are made by the customers. Now, I don't want to run Everton Football Club. I want Everton Football Club to be ran in my best interest. Run it for us. I don't understand. Now, if you cast your mind back to 2 weeks ago, Frank Lampard blamed the fans for Wolves' winning goal in saying, oh, well, the crowd was a little bit iffy, and when things get like that, sometimes the players can feel the pressure. Now we've got the owner blaming the fans for managers who have been employed and managers who have been sacked. You've effectively come out, said, well, this is why the board are in place, because they're local and they love the club. Okay, that's you effectively saying they haven't got a fucking clue. And you've come out and you've effectively said, I haven't got a clue either. Well, the decisions that are made are being driven by fans. What top businessman who is the owner of a multi-million-pound business allows its customers to make the decision? Yes, they'll take the customers' feedback into consideration, but you ultimately make the decision that is best for the football club. Coming out and saying, don't blame me about the managers, the fans made that decision. Well, you may as well fuck off then and let us run the club. It's embarrassing. The letter, the interview on TalkSport, the fact that once again the communication has come from a third party, it's come from his pal in the media rather than, Everton's actual media team that we employ and that we pay good money for. What's the point in having it there if we're not going to use it? That's the owner of our football club, by the way. So, whether or not you've got a massive issue with Frank Lampard, whether or not you've got a massive issue with Bill Kenwright, whether or not you've got a massive issue with Denise Barrett-Baxendale, that's the owner of our football club. That's the fella that makes the decisions. That's the fella that keeps these people in charge. That's the fella that employs them in the first place. Even though he wants to make you believe that, he wants to make you believe that it's us that employ the managers. It's not, it's him. That's the manager. That's the fella that sacks the managers, even though he wants you to believe it's us. It's not, it's him. That's the owner of our football club. And listen, everybody will have a different opinion. For me, he is the biggest issue with this football club. And I get that he's the one that is the hardest to solve because he owns the club. And it's much easier to pressure him to remove the board than it is to pressure him to sell his club, ultimately. But he is the biggest issue far and wide of this football club. And you only have to go and listen to the 3.5 minutes with Jim White is to genuinely, to reaffirm that. I am worried. And I'm not only worried because of the team's performances or the manager's performances or the fact that we're in another relegation battle or the fact even that we could be relegated this season, because it goes further than that. It goes so much further than that. If we get relegated this season, then we can't say that we don't deserve it. I'm worried about this fella running our football club because he hasn't got a clue. He has not got a clue. And do you know what? We've screamed and shouted, and rightly so as a fan base, about communication and about the need for communication and about the absolute disgrace that it is that we haven't had communication over the years from Farhad Moshiri. Based on that today, maybe he's best keeping his mouth shut because he's embarrassed himself there. The board are in play because they go the game, they're local, and they love the club. I'm not really asked if they go the game, or if they're local, or if they love the club. I'm asked about if they know what they're doing and they know how to run the football club. I'll take a fella that doesn't love the football club, doesn't go the game, and isn't local, but knows how to run the football club and is running the football club successfully, than somebody that goes the game, is local and loves the club and hasn't got a fucking clue, because that's what we've got at the moment. I'm not questioning Bill Kenwright doesn't love Everton Football Club. I'm not questioning Bill Kenwright doesn't support Everton Football Club. I'm questioning Bill Kenwright's ability to do his job or to run this football club, and he's not able to do that. I'm not questioning that Farhad Moshiri has got ill intention or that he hasn't put his hand in his pocket. I'm not sitting here and questioning that, but I'm questioning his ability. He might have ill intention. I could go and win the Euro Millions couldn't I? I could go and win 750 trillion and I could go to an NFL club in America. I'm buying this club and I'm making every decision. My heart would be in the right place, but I haven't got a clue about the NFL or how to run an NFL club or what the NFL rules are or how to win a tournament in the NFL. I haven't got a clue. So what I'd do is I'd go to somebody who did have a clue. Here's a load of money. Make this business a success for me. What Farhad Moshiri's done is gone, I haven't got a clue, but I'm going to wing it. And I'm going to go on the radio and make a tit of myself. As TJ says, I'd sooner have a South African businessman who's never heard of us but knows how to market. Exactly. Yeah. There you go. I don't really know what else to say about the letter, to be honest with you. And I'm shocked. I'm disgusted. I'm devastated. He needs removing from the football club. As well as the board. He's a massive issue. A massive, massive issue. Anyway, we are going to leave it there. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. We will be back for the preview to the Southampton game tomorrow, so don't forget to look out for that one. If you have enjoyed this one, please hit that like button. It does only take a second if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe if anything comes up over the course of the next day or so. We'll be back talking about that as well. So big thanks for watching. Leave a like if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you later.